Yo everybody, what's going on? This is Keegan from Kman Reviews. If you enjoy this review, make sure you hit that like and the subscribe button, and if you have any opinions at all that you would like to share, make sure to leave them down in the comment section. The Dillinger Escape Plan, Calculating Infinity. The Dillinger Escape Plan was an American metalcore band who I've seen around my YouTube review scene a few times, saw a bunch of praise for them and their unique sound, yet despite all that I hadn't actually listened to the band or any of their 6 albums before, so it was an exciting moment when I got this recommendation to cover the band's debut album, Calculating Infinity, and let's not waste any more time, let's just dive in. What are my thoughts on Calculating Infinity? Let's find out as I review it, track by track. Since I'm pretty sure there were no singles, we will just start at the top of the track list with that being Sugar-Coated Sour, which comes out of the gate swinging and not holding any punches back. Volcanic slaps of percussion, gritty riffs, and Dimitri's unforgiving vocals. After hearing the first bit of the track, I kinda expected it to just keep firing, no holds barred in a kind of primitive fashion. To my surprise, there's a lot of technical proficiency on display here. The guitar work is very nice in particular, especially when the track goes through its brief breakdowns. Another thing I like about this is how the song features a very odd time signature, hard to keep track of when the track is just jumping around so chaotically. You don't really know where it's gonna go next. Personally, I'm way more of a pop listener, so typical structures and formulas work more for me. Not even that this is bad, but it is a lot, and it has some great energy to it. I like it. 43% Burnt, which seems to be the stone cold classic and most loved track from the album, and let me tell you, it does not ease up from the opener at all, but yet again, there is still a lingering beauty behind the madness. The vocals are virtually incoherent, most of the time it's just Dimitri trying to scream his entire larynx forcefully out through his mouth, but I am just so enamored by the musicianship displayed on this track. It's equal parts heavy and anarchic, but also completely intentional, like it was brushed over with a fine-tooth comb. It refuses to stay locked to any assigned key and frenzies all around like a chaotic roller coaster that is sturdy, finished, and totally safe, yet the gravitational force and whiplash you experience feels like it'll completely kill you. The track ends on a near minute-and-a-half fade-out that is extremely gradual and slow, maybe a bit too long for me, but this is just a fascinating song. Again, I do like it. Jim Fear just blasts out the gate with immediate incomprehensible screams and dense walls with guitars and percussion. It's not a good sign that by track 3 I'm already starting to sound like a broken record, but I mean, that's just kind of what it's boiling down to. I will say though, the guitar licks that are scattered around this track are definitely appealing to me, kind of played to the underlying beauty of the sound, but really, out of all the tracks on the album so far, this is the spiciest dose administered so far. Extremely fiery, energetic. It's like a bomb going off, but with the initial explosion factor lasting for a whole 2 minutes and then some. It's very wild, but it's still very captivating as well. Asterisk hashtag ... Yes, that is the actual name of the song, and this one finally gives us a brief oasis from the unabashed barrage that has been the opening stretch, and gives us a near 3-minute instrumental that still refuses to let me move past the edge of my seat, introducing this haunting atmosphere like I'm traversing this abandoned research facility. There's garbled audio replaying through speakers, random bursts of wind come gushing through the mix as this thunderous percussion begins to slowly build and build, until just near the end of the track, it's practically the only thing you can hear. And then just like that, it stops and the instrumental fades out. Would have absolutely loved for this to transition into another track, but it is what it is and it's placed nicely in the track list. Destro's Secret throws the listener right back into the fire. Guttural screams, frantic tempo and time signatures, visceral riffing, but this song actually does change things up a little bit and presents a few calmer moments. Featuring a more polished melody, lighter guitar work, and some more articulated drums, there's even a minor hook about 3/4 of the way through. It's probably the most appealing track on the record from a structural standpoint. I think it's a solid track. The running board continues the slight differentiation started on Destro's Secret, but this one even more so, having a few industrial-esque breakdowns to split up, and at least for me, they are a very welcome addition to the track list with their menacing vocals and percussion and gentle riffing. Reminds me of some of the calmer Tool moments. But of course, the bulk of the song still has that same forceful punch with the screamed vocals and riffing, but I especially caught note of the percussion on this track and just how technical it really is. Again, very solid song here. Clip the Apex, Accept Instruction is yet again just another sonic injection of pure insanity. Not necessarily a bad thing though when it comes to this record. Again, at this point, I just really don't feel like I have much to talk about with the overall sound of the album. I'm a broken record. Same screams, same manic riffing, but yet this track manages to be a standard on the album, specifically with these almost thrash metal breakdowns, and the bass work here too is immaculate. Good track. The title track, Calculating Infinity, is the first core track on the album that doesn't come out of the gate with a bang. It's actually a slightly slower moment with gritty, sandy riffs, nice percussion, and a funky bass as well, only adding a bit of texture to the journey through hell that is this album. In fact, the song never really sees the same extremity as the rest of the album. Sure, the riffs get a bit crunchier for the last minute, but that's really it. It's the most normal and accessible track on the entire album, really just displaying the band's effortlessly fluid style, switching between time signatures and keys with zero trouble. Very nice track. Fourth Grade Dropout immediately picks back up where the rest of the album left off, almost as if the title track was nothing more than an afterthought and throws the listener back into the mayhem, but only for the first minute and a half as the track suddenly drops out and makes way for this expansive, vast mix, the percussion creating these terraforming shockwaves, while the light guitar riffing keeps the listener in focus as the track gradually builds up in spectacular fashion with rupturous drums and louder riffs, and eventually gets back to where it was before, but slightly more melodious. Very captivating song here, nice listen. Weekend Sex Change, much like asterisk hashtag ... is purely an instrumental track, this time a bit less focused on the ambient and more focused around this specific melody with its reverberating guitar lick and incessant drums that just seem to keep going and never stop. The middle portion of this song is definitely way more ambient, featuring light cymbal rattlings, layered audio messages, and a dark synthetic atmosphere, which eventually builds up with an accelerating vocal loop getting higher and higher pitched until it just returns back to that same melody that started the song. Great way to keep a listener on their toes. And finally, the closer, Variations on a Cocktail Dress, a massive 8-minute closer. And it's not really 8 minutes long, the actual track itself only lasts around 2 minutes and 10 seconds, but that runtime is spent giving us the same typical style expected of this album, although there's some amazing guitar flourishes on here that help the track stand out, especially the closing moments with the shrill plucking and singular snare pound. Nice touch. Then the track undergoes 3 minutes of complete silence, only for a bonus track, I'm pretty sure, to come through with this piercing metallic slash that eventually gets to this distorted, crackly, glitchy mess, and ends on this sample that sounds like it's out of a movie dialogue scene over these strings, and it fades out to end the album. I've never been a massive fan of silent breaks in some of these songs, so as a whole it doesn't do too much for me, but I like the first part of the track. Overall, I mean, I have never heard an album quite like Calculating Infinity. I know I said that in my last review as well, and it sounds a little bit dumb, but seriously, this album is so one of a kind. In fact, it's hard to really look at this like proper music when the sheer unbridled energy of the album practically eclipses any sense of rhythm, tempo, or accepted musical tropes. And as a result, it makes this album extremely hard to talk about and properly rate. I will say right now, this is not the kind of music I typically seek out to listen to. It's wild, it's unhinged, it sounds like someone came into your house, trashed the place, set it on fire, and blew it up with an atomic bomb. It is relentless, yet controlled at the same time. Definitely an acquired taste of an album, I feel. You will either love it on first listen or hate it on first listen, but there's no denying the technicality and unignorable fire the album has, and I feel like everyone should at least experience this once, just to see how far music can truly be pushed. I'm feeling a solid 7 out of 10 on this album. Well guys, hope you enjoyed that review. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace